Well, my computer fucked up and crashed. And I recorded a 2 hour video and now it fucking crashed because this piece of shit computer is a piece of fuck. And now I had to rant about the same shit again and again. I got out in the mental hospital. It's a regurgitated fucking shit, but basically I fucked up and I had to go back to the mental hospital because I was having hallucinations. So now this fucking video. Oh my god, I am so frustrated. My fucking computer decided to be a fucking piece of shit and fucking killed itself. I was talking about how I have shitty friends and how I went to the mental hospital because I just got fed up with delusions and hallucinations and everything. Well, I'm gonna be talking still more, but I'm gonna let this dry. This is what I painted, and it took me 2 hours, and I was rambling, and I was talking about Christian too, and how he has a girlfriend somehow, which is wow. How the fuck does he get a girlfriend and I don't have one? Which is crazy.
Atari, ah yes, a name so dearly loved from the golden age of history. A magical time when there was no internet, no cell phones, just electronic video games. Okay, it was the Dark Ages, but life was simple. Atari was the prime innovator in video arcades, home computers,
Took me
and
years
home video
to
game consoles.
get in
The Atari
trying to get a
2600
degree, but
revolutionized the game industry. It made possible the use of changeable cartridges
sucks.
and plug-in controllers. The games were primitive
I'm
and
so
shoddy,
pissed off
but
that
back
that
in
shit
those
happened.
days, they were fascinating. But then there came competition. The
But
Odyssey
anyways,
2,
I'm gonna probably
television,
delete that file.
ColecoVision, everybody was trying to take advantage of the video gaming craze. It wasn't like today where you have a choice of only 3 consoles. Back then, there were so many fucking video game systems it made your head spin. Also, there wasn't any way to know which games were good and which games were bad, so consumers were alienated by an overblown market. So Atari made another
Okay, so
console,
I'm deleting
5200.
files so my
It
computer
replaced
can
the
run.
TV game switch with an
I
automatic
fucking
switch box.
hate my
It also
computer.
tried to eliminate the use
I hate
of
Macs,
wires by plugging the AC
but
adapter
they're good for
directly into the
Adobe
switch
software
box.
programs,
that
but
only made it more
even then,
confusing.
a gaming
Controllers
PC
had
could
a
still
pause
run it
button,
better.
which was new at the time, but the joysticks were faulty and unreliable. What it all came down
And
to,
I'm just gonna say that
5200 was an
I'm
oversized
probably
piece of
gonna
shit.
live with
I
my
made a whole
parents for
video
at least
about it.
another
That's how much
year.
that sucks.
But
Following the
I'm gonna
video
at least
game
have
crash
a
of
car insurance and a
1984,
car that my
Nintendo
parents
and
were
Sega
probably
would
gonna
rise from
give
the
me at
ashes,
least.
once again revolutionizing the market and ushering in a new generation of
I'm
gamers.
trying to become a
Atari
freelance
had the
graphic
ring
designer,
again
but
with the 7800. This
it's
one
not like I
resolved
need
all
it.
the issues with the 5200. The controller ports allowed
But,
you to use the same controllers as the 2600, and it was also backwards compatible with the 2600 games. The
Okay, I guess
7800
it's already
featured
dry,
better
but,
graphics, but didn't have much to offer in comparison with Nintendo. So, once again,
Oh.
it bit the dust. Afterwards, Atari stopped naming their consoles after numbers and instead started naming them after cats. The Atari Lynx was the first handheld console that was in color, but it found itself sandwiched
Pink.
between the more successful portable game systems, the Nintendo Game Boy and Sega Game Gear. Though the Lynx was pretty cool, gamers found it to be a little bulky, even with the Lynx 2, the new design model. The Lynx 1 took more batteries and drained them faster than the Game Boy. Also, it didn't have the same third-party support as the others, so it lost again. Meanwhile, Nintendo and Sega were in steady competition, but whether anyone preferred the NES library games or the Sega Genesis games was a matter of opinion. However, the debate amongst the fans and Sega's marketing campaign came down to one simple fact. The Genesis was 16-bit and the NES was only 8. This started a little trend I like to call the Bit Wars. Nobody ever talked about bits before that, and nobody ever talked about bits since. And what are bits anyway? Nobody knew, they're just bits. Try explaining that to your parents. Oh, I want a Super Nintendo for Christmas. Don't you already have a Nintendo? Yeah, but this one's 16-bit. What's that? I don't know. Other than it meaning the graphics were better, that's all we cared about. But the Bit Wars brought our sense of gaming into numbers. People began to care more about the graphics and less about the actual gameplay. It was to the point that some consoles even used the number of bits in their name, like TurboGrafx 16 and the Nintendo 64. But in 1993, one console would come along to remind us that bits aren't everything. It was the Atari Jaguar. It was announced as the first 64-bit game system. We were like, damn, 64? That's like 4 times the bits. Even the official advertising slogan said, do the math. But beyond its vicious exterior and rotating Jaguar cube on the startup screen, it had little to offer. Gamers who were suckered in found a mediocre library of games and graphics that failed to impress. The controllers were huge and they had keypads, much like the ColecoVision and Intellivision. And like those, there were overlays which sometimes come in handy, but for most games, they're unnecessary.
Throat hurts.
The cartridges don't have end labels, so I had to make my own. Seriously, is there any good reason not to have end labels? I guess instead to have these weird handles. What's the point? Do I really need that extra grip? None of the other top-loading consoles had that. It's like, oh, God, I can't get the game out. Oh, God, I need a handle. Man, I just can't get a grip. Gotta have a handle. And speaking of top-loading consoles, notice how they all have a door. That's to protect from dust. That's a good thing. But the Jaguar doesn't have that. Why not? But before I can review any games, we need to discuss the graphics. This is Zool 2. Now, without criticizing the game, it's a typical side-scroller, but look at it. The graphics don't look any better than Sonic the Hedgehog, and that was 16-bit. Maybe a bad choice of game, so let's give it the benefit of the doubt and try something else. Brutal Sports Football. Another okay game. Once again, the graphics aren't too impressive. Where the other 48 bits
take this
go?
dedication to talk about
Let's try checkered flag. This showcases the graphic capabilities a little more, just the fact that it puts
Some
you
of
in
them
a
are
three-dimensional
buttheads
environment.
and
But compared to F-Zero on Super Nintendo, 48
do
bits
nothing
less,
with their
but a million
lives.
times more appealing to the eye.
And
Now look at Cybermorph. It's a
one
flying
friend
game
called
with
me a
polygon
retard
graphics. Going back
over
to
a
Super
Mario
NES one
game.
more time, look at Star Fox. Are we missing something here? For a game console that claims to be 64-bit, it really doesn't show a whole lot
I
of
did
improvement.
apologize, but
This
I don't
caused a
know.
lot of debate amongst gamers whether or not it really was 64-bit. It's a topic that usually overshadows the
sensitive.
Jaguar itself, but it's something that we just need to get out of the way. Well, we do know that Atari was originally planning a 32-bit system called the Panther, but decided to skip it and leap ahead. The Jaguar still used a 32-bit graphic processing unit, but through a combination of other processors somehow added up to 64. It's technical and confusing, but the point is the Jaguar was a rare species, not built like most game consoles. That made it harder for programmers to develop games on it, and as a result, many games didn't utilize its full capabilities, whatever they could have been. So I've given you a little history of Atari and how it tried to win the Bit Wars. Now that we got that out of the way,
green
check
bomb.
into part 2,
No,
we'll
this
actually
is
play
orange.
some Jaguar games. Or if you want to be cool, you say play some Jag. Alright, let's play some Jag. We've already established that the graphics weren't much of a leap for 64 bits, but graphics aren't everything. Take a look at Tempest 2000. It's an arcade-style game with a three-dimensional feel. It's really addicting and fun to play. Basically, you're in space with a bunch of 3D shapes, just shooting stuff and collecting power-ups. Funny to think that something so simple happens to be one of the best games the Jaguar has to offer. It even has some good kick-ass music. So kick-ass that there was actually a soundtrack on CD.
kick it. My dad came in again.
Really?
It's getting
Was there
annoying.
any reason not to have music? Did they run out of time?
Anyways,
consider it scarier that
I had
way,
bad
but it would
friends.
have been nice to have the option. I call this one Silent Doom, so just put on some Slayer and you're all set. So I think I covered most of the real famous Jaguar games. So now let's look at something more obscure. Attack of the Mutant Penguins. I gotta admit, the name alone got my attention. But what the hell's going on? From what I understand, there's a bunch of penguins walking around. They buy tickets and then go into a transformation booth where they become evil mutant penguins. And from there, they go to the Doom Scale. Yeah, the Doom Scale. They jump in the mouth and then appear on the scale. So you gotta stop the penguins by using a weapon. For example, a baseball bat. How do you get the bat? You gotta collect letters that spell the word bat. Where do you find the letters? Inside treasure chests. But how do you open the treasure chests? A key, right? No, gremlins. Yeah, you collect what they call gremlins, and supposedly you drop the gremlins inside the treasure chest and then it opens. But no, it doesn't open right away. It takes like 10 seconds. The more gremlins you use, the faster it opens. But it doesn't open, it like explodes. When you get the bat, you gotta kill all the penguins, but they don't die if you hit them. Instead, there's a bunch of power orbs.
Yeah, so
you gotta get
I
all
did
the
a
power
lot
orbs to power
of
up the bat
drugs.
to kill the penguins. But you only kill the penguins when
I don't
hats,
even know what
because
to
the
talk
ones that
about
don't wear
now.
hats
I'm
fight the
just
ones that do
so
wear
tired
hats.
of the
If
fact
mutant
that the
penguins on
fucking
Doom
computer
Scale
just
outweigh the regular penguins, the Doom Scale starts screaming and going apeshit.
crashed. The whole fucking computer crashed. Pissed me off.
This is the weirdest game I've ever played. I mean, it's not bad if you're drunk or high or something, but how did they come up with this shit? I got it. I could come up with a game like this. How about you're a shark and you gotta shake palm trees till trains fall down, and you put the trains in an apple, and then turkeys come and eat the apples, and then the turkeys go up waterfalls, and to get them
So
down,
fucking
you have to
irritated
collect
the
monkey
fact
butts.
goddamn
Drop the
computer
monkey
fucking
butts on
shut
power
off.
lines, and then
I can't record more than 3 hours. That's for sure. I have to put parts in parts.
Fighting game. Badly. Most fighting games have a character select screen. In fact,
I'm
all
gonna
of them
finish
have
this
that,
video
right?
at least
Well, not this
until
one.
11
Instead, it's got this
p.m.
weird first-person sort of thing. You walk around
So
and
I
touch
finished the
statues
painting
pick
and it
your
looks like
character.
shit.
It's so awkward. How did they fuck up something as easy as the select screen? Even worse, when playing the one-player mode, you only get a
It
choice
smells
of playing
weird.
as 2 characters. You have to beat the other characters to unlock them. That alone makes it more of a pain in the ass than it has to be. The game itself is pretty much a Mortal Kombat clone, with every hit making pools of blood fall down, and it even has death moves.
Why did I smell it?
But it's also one of those games that wimps out by censoring the violence. You have to put a parental password just to turn the blood on. Basically, it's just a 6-digit code. But what's the chance of kids not figuring out the code before their parents do? But once it's unlocked, you still need to set the level of blood. So in case
So
you want there
I'm
to
just
be a
gonna
little
talk,
bit of
take
blood,
this time
but
to
not
talk
too
about
much,
drugs.
who the fuck cares?
I was
Just turn
addicted
the
to
goddamn
whippets,
blood on.
and I would take like 35
Control
of
is
them.
horrible. It's almost
all
as bad
in
as
one
Shaq
sitting.
Fu. I'm not kidding. The attacks are sluggish,
And
there's not much
that
strategy,
was
and you'll never guess how to do
crazy.
the special moves. You try everything. Back forward kick, down forward punch, half circle back punch, you know, the typical stuff. But none of that works. So you gotta either maybe have the instruction manual or go on the internet to get the moves. You gotta hold the C button. Like instead of down forward C, you gotta hold C while you do it. Why couldn't it be something more common? I think one basic important thing in any fighting game is being able to pick it up and play. The special moves are ridiculous. Like, what is this? He shoots fireballs at his dick? Or maybe it's a gaping flame vagina? Who the fuck knows? Somebody was not right in the head. This game is fucking horrible. But how do you wash down the bad taste of one shitty game with another? Cybermorph. I already mentioned that this one looks worse than Star Fox, but let's give it a chance.
Good luck. Where did you learn to fly?
What's with this green face? It's disturbing.
Where did you
So I'm in school right now, but hopefully I can become a freelance graphic designer. I probably already said that, but
Single time you hit something, it says that.
Where did you learn?
Knock it off.
no experience.
The mountains come out of nowhere.
I don't think
they just
that's a
pop up, giving
possibility.
you no time to react.
No degree.
When you die, it picks you up right where you left off. Sometimes I complain about games making
I
you
had to
start back
pee
at the
again.
beginning, but this one literally puts you right back where you are. Imagine
3
if
or
Super
more
Mario
years of
Brothers, you run
experience in the
into a Goomba
graphic
guy.
design
Okay,
field
then
just
what?
for this
Does it
job.
start you right in front of the Goomba
God,
again?
I hate this. I hate this fucking culture of
That voice just never
you have to be
stops.
fucking 80 years old for experience.
You learn to fly. Where did you learn to fly? Where did you learn to
Come on! That's enough of that.
Where did you learn to fly?
Oh, gotta get out of my head.
Where did you learn to fly? Where did you learn to Where did you learn to fly?
Oh, I gotta get out of my head.
Where did you learn?
I gotta get out of my head.
Where did you learn to fly?
Stop!
Where did you learn to
Oh shit! Oh shit! Where'd you learn to be an asshole? Jaguar, I've had all I can take. You're the most fucking... Did you just growl at me? Hugon! What do I do? Take that, kitty! Sick him! Yeah, that's the real Jaguar! Well, okay, we played a few Jaguar games. We played a sports game, a side-scroller, a first-person shooter, a fighting game, a racing game, and a flying game. We played some good games, some bad games, and overall, makes me want to puke. Like a cat. And then what do? They make a CD add-on. Yeah, the fucking Jaguar CD. There's something about this that perplexes me. You have a game console that not many people own, so you make an add-on that requires owning the game console. What were they thinking?
It should have just been its own individual game system. Besides, the fucking thing has its own AC adapter, so that's two. One for the Jaguar and one for the Jaguar CD. And that's some cool looking design. It looks just like a toilet. Yeah, it's a fucking toilet. What a perfect analogy. I would review some games, but there's one problem. Fucking bastard doesn't work. Not even the cartridge slot, so I can't even play my regular Jaguar games while this thing's connected. I tried using different AC adapters, but nothing worked. It simply won't read the disc. So I sent this broken piece of shit to my friend Richard to see if he could fix it. He invented the Nintoaster, a fully functional NES made out of a toaster. He also made the Super Genentari, which plays NES, SNES, Genesis, and Atari 2600 games. So game mechanisms are his specialty. If he can't fix it, then it's fucked. Here's his diagnosis.
Yes, the Atari Jaguar CD. What a steaming pile of fucking shit that was. I want to make sure there's nothing wrong with the console itself first, just to rule it out. So I plug in a game, push the power button, the Jaguar logo comes careening forward in the foreground, and after a particularly hilarious fucking startup sequence, I'm playing
I had a
some
lot of
Tempest
drugs,
2000.
and
Whoa! So now I know there's nothing wrong with the console itself. Time to move on to the CD unit. So I plug it in,
I'm just
hook up the
so
additional 47
tired.
cables
It's
that
probably
came
because of
with
the
it, push
meds.
power button. The logo comes
But,
careening towards me in the foreground, snarls, and
I just barely took them, so
red
it's
screen of
probably
death,
not the
indicating a
meds. I'm
connection
just
problem.
probably tired
So,
of
the first thing I did was deep clean
repeating
every
the
single
same shit
contact point
over
on
and
both
over
the
again.
console and the CD
But,
unit. I turned it on, red screen. Then I went back and made physical adjustments to every contact point
pizza,
in both the console and CD
why
unit
does
so it'd make a more
have an
solid
odd
connection.
taste?
Turned it on, red screen. Finally, I just said fuck it and directly wired those two sons of bitches together. completely
gonna put it
bypassing
there.
any and all cartridge ports and ruling out the remote chance of there ever being any kind of connection issue between the two systems. I turned it on, and guess what? Red screen! So at this point, I pretty much just gave up and shipped everything back to him, along with the Pong machine, which pretty much just says, "I'm sorry, man. This thing is just too shitty for me to work on." I think between the flaming fuck you middle finger red screens and getting snarled at the same time, this machine has become self-aware and does not want to be removed. That is my diagnosis. Richard out.
Well, thanks for trying. And thanks for the Pong console. Would you believe that a 30-year-old Pong console attached to a cell phone adapter would work, but a cutting-edge snarling Jaguar doesn't? There's something wrong here. And you know what? I blew $250 on this thing. So, you know what I did? Bought another one. Yeah. And guess what? It doesn't work either. So, that's about $450 total I blew on 2 dead Jaguars. And these things are rare. So when the only 2 that I can manage to get my hands on just don't work, that leads me to believe that
I
these
gotta
things
scratch
most
my
definitely are self-aware.
keys.
They don't want to work. You can't make them. They just refuse to be reviewed. And I've never had that happen. So, the end. I gotta take a shit.
So, a lot of whippets, stuck a lot of salvia, dropped a lot of acid, smoked a lot of pot. I decided to probably stop using drugs altogether
If they
around
move,
today
kill 'em. Yeah.
because now my nicotine
Shoot 'em.
vape is
That's
running
what
out
you
of
do.
juice,
Kill
but
everybody on the
I threw
street.
that away,
Don't let
so
anybody live. That's what games are all
I'm
about.
probably
See
gonna
somebody,
stay away
pump
from
their
drugs
motherfucking ass full of lead.
for a
But
long
then
time.
came along a game
Let's see how
on the
this
Japanese
lasts.
home computer, the MSX2. It was called
I don't
Metal
know.
Gear, and it was a
Um,
fresh new idea. It was about
I
survival.
used to drink a
rather
lot,
than blunt
do a lot
force.
of
Instead of
whippets.
running up and killing everybody, it was all about getting by undetected. It was
It's
an
hard.
epic, revolutionary
It's
idea
really hard.
and paved the way for the stealth genre. Snake would become one of the classic video game characters, and of course it was one of the most popular names of the 80s, next to Michael. I always think of Snake from Escape from New York, or the wrestler Jake the Snake, and his full name is Solid Snake. Might as well just be Erect Cock. There were so many sequels it gets confusing, maybe even chronologically confusing. There was Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid, and Metal Gear Solid 2. Could they have come up with a title that sounded different? Like, which one's the real 2? Well, if you want to get technical, the first sequel was Snake's Revenge, but that was only a sequel to the NES version. The original game's developer, Hideo Kojima, wasn't involved in either of the NES versions, so Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake was the first true sequel. But again, it was on the MSX2, so unless you lived in Japan, chances are you weren't aware of it at the time. Metal Gear Solid was basically the third in the series, but it was the first one that most people played because it was on the PlayStation. It was also the first one to utilize
how much
3D
video
environments,
games does Christian
first-person
have?
views, and cinematic elements. Today, there's so many Metal
He
Gear
has
Solid
more video
sequels,
games
so
than a
many
teenage
versions of the
Asian
game,
kid.
It's out of control.
The point is, today, Metal Gear is a franchise. But forget about all that for just one moment. Pretend that it's 1988 and we don't live in Japan. To our knowledge, the only game is Metal Gear on the NES. I remember renting it from the video store and thinking,
Shit,
wow, that
man.
looks pretty cool. But there was something about the cover that was really familiar, which I never realized till now. It's Kyle Reese from the Terminator. Yeah, without a doubt.
It also has the fastest title screen in video game history. Watch how long it stays. Then it goes to the demo. Seriously, it's only up there for 2 seconds. I'll time it. There you go, 2 seconds. It's like the game saying,
How the
oh,
fuck
well, you're not
does
gonna push
this
start?
fucker
Well, fuck
end
you
up getting
then.
that much video games?
So you drop from a parachute.
I don't even have
How
that
are
much
these other
of these
three
video
guys?
games.
I don't even know if you ever see them again. Then you get a briefing from your boss. He says, first attempt to contact missing our Gray Fox. grade. There's a typo on the first message. So then you walk over, you could either just go up and fight this guy, or wait for him to fall asleep. Or feel asleep. I guess if he feels asleep, that's good enough. But even then, when you go near him, he just wakes up. So what's the difference? Then there's all these dogs. Your first instinct's to sneak by. But look at this. I can't fucking go through. What's blocking me? If you really weren't intended to fit through, couldn't they have put these jeeps closer to the grass? You can only move along a grid, so basically you can't go near anything. Bad game design at its finest. So I punch out all these dogs, and then I just go to the next screen. Just keep walking down, walking down. Oh, fuck. What was the point of that?
Hexbox.
You know what the point was? To waste my fucking time. Now the dogs are back? Of course, it's the classic respawning enemy bullshit. So I gotta punch the fucking dogs again. You know, who the hell goes around punching dogs? Alright, come on, you mother bitch. Come on. Ugh, damn it. Alright, now I'm gonna get in this truck here. Wow, this truck's the size of a fucking house. And it doesn't make any sense. You stay the same size, so how does the truck get bigger? Oh well, whatever. What's this? Binoculars? Alright, gonna go back out here. What the fuck? That was ridiculous! The enemies respawn if you go in the truck. It's not like I left the screen, it was just a sub area. And once you get out of the truck, you're immediately open to enemy fire. That is so fucking cheap.
Well,
Play dirty? Alright, fucking goddamn piece of shit. The one thing that's cool, I still have my binoculars, so I don't
I'm
gotta
just
go
so
in that truck
disappointed
again.
that the
Just gonna punch this motherfucker. Die!
whole entire
Asshole.
video that I
Go to the
made,
select screen here,
almost
choose
3 hours,
binoculars.
just
Okay,
crashed.
So let's try 'em out.
that pissed me
Alright,
off
I'm
so
using the
much.
D-pad. Looks like I'm scanning the environment. Just a little handy way to see what lies ahead, I suppose.
And it's
Now
not
I'm going
even
back to the select screen.
a
turn it
lot
off.
anyways, just the
Okay.
grip, like,
What? You son of a
Fucking
bitch!
bullshit,
The enemies
man.
respawn if you use the binoculars. You can't do anything. Was this a glitch? Or were the game designers deliberately trying to be fucking assholes? Seriously! And this whole jungle scene wasn't even
I'm
in
trying
the
to
original
look for
version.
graphic design
Let's
jobs.
see, what kind of stupid shit can we add? Let's take a great game and just dump an ass-loaded diarrhea all over it. Now where the fuck am I? It's the same screen being repeated. Is it like in Zelda, where you have to go northwest, southwest? But no, you just go down. Whenever you go left or right, it just takes you back to the same spot. Then let me ask a perfectly legit question.
I gotta
What were
fart.
they
I'm
thinking?
farting.
Why not just have one path? Thanks
I'm just
for
gonna shit
tricking me
here.
into thinking I'm going somewhere when I'm really not. Alright, you bastard. Fuck! Oh my god. I gotta go back to the beginning every time. Are there any checkpoints? Am I ever gonna get to continue? And where's my fucking gun? Is that all I get? Just my fist? Oh, I have a pack of cigarettes too. Wow, hey kids, smoke up. The menus suck. Check it out. Here's how it works. Select brings up the main menu. Now, select does nothing. B goes back to the game. And A chooses the sub-menu. Now, select goes back to the game. And B now does nothing. And A chooses the item. It's so inconsistent. Until you get used to it, it takes so fucking long to navigate. I'm not trying to find flaws in this game. This is honestly how I felt
What
the
else
first time
should I tell
playing
you?
this 20 years ago. I hated it. I wanted to know
Oh,
two
yeah, I
things.
forgot about my
When do I
phone.
get a gun? When do I get to continue? I kept dying over and over again, and seeing that first screen so many times left a permanent mental image in my brain for the rest of my life. But once you learn how to get by, you go in the first building, and soon enough you get the gun. Once that happens, the game gets a lot easier. But still, every time you die, you go back to the fucking beginning. But like I said, you get to keep your weapons, so once you have the gun, you're all set. And some of the trucks drive you around.
Organizers are holding a
But you have no control over it. You step into a random truck and off you go. Uh-oh, the truck have started to move. Man, these translations suck. Couldn't they get anybody to proofread this shitload of fuck? Anyway, every time I play it, I seem to get one step further. But there's always going to be something unexpected. Like that right there. How was I supposed to know there'd be a trap door? It's all about trial and error. And just because of that, I gotta start all over. I've heard that if you use the transceiver, it makes the trapdoor go away. Which it does, but you still die. What the fuck? Anyway, you go around collecting items, key cards, and rescuing hostages. But if you want a chance to read any of the dialogue boxes, you better be careful not to touch the D-pad. Yeah, you know how in most games you can cancel out the text by pushing A or B, sometimes start, but never the fucking D-pad? Naturally, when you get an item, you're using the D-pad because you're walking toward it. So you have to remember to let go
yeah,
right
I think
away.
I'm gonna end the video
That is
here.
some mixed up buffalo bullshit right there. And sometimes the dialogue box can actually get blocked. They can't keep the objects in the game from getting in front of the text, or maybe it's to hide their inability to proofread. I have located some plastic explosive. This game's a mess. How did they fuck it up so bad? There's so many spots where you just walk into a room and drop dead. Like here, I have to switch on my gas.
This is a
Of course,
vlog
if I don't
that
realize that, I only have 1 second
daily
to react
life
before my health's
me.
drained all the way. And then the fucking boss calls and says, I forget to tell you something. You will need your gas mask. Oh, no shit. You're a little fucking late there, asshole. You think you could tell me before I step into the room? Not after? I mean, if I survived long enough to get his message, I would have already figured that out. But you want to know what else sucks about this room? To get in, you need to have your key card selected. Then, right away, you need to select your gas mask. So, unavoidably, you lose some health. And then once again, to get out of the room, you have to select your key card. So, twice you take damage. And as far as I know, there's no way to avoid it. Probably my favorite fucked up part is right here. See this truck? It's too close to the edge of the screen. So if you want to go in there, you have to leave the screen twice. You go right, go up, and go left. What game would ever make you do that? And it's so annoying when people gang up on it. Oh my god.
I was talking about my first time being in a mental hospital because I was doing a lot of Adderall.
But anyway, it's
because
a
I was
pretty
prescribed
epic game,
Adderall.
so most likely you won't be
But,
in one sitting. That's why there's a password
anyways,
system. But like you
I
expect,
got nothing else
it's
to say,
horrendous.
but
Is there
I
any
feel like
reason why
it's
these
necessary to
passwords
litter
have
the
to be so
internet
fucking
with my
long?
videos,
Even this would be
even
overdoing
if
it.
it's
Why do we
not
need
really
this little
gaining
extra
anything.
part?
But
Like for the
I
love
feel like I
of
want
fuck.
to talk about it
Well,
here.
then guess what? If you use the password,
like I feel like
it starts
I'm
you at the
unattractive,
building where you left
but
off. Why couldn't
There's
that
girls
happen
that
just by
would chase me
continuing?
around,
The whole purpose of having
be
a
around me.
password is if you turn the game off and
I'm
want to come back to it later.
not bad
Not
with
just to
women. I
continue.
never made them
Imagine every
uncomfortable.
time you
I
die typing in this
plenty of
password.
women
It's either that or
talk
start
to
at the
me.
beginning. So pick your fucking poison, motherfucker.
I had a girl
This
block
game
me
is the fucking
because I
thrust
called her a
between your
CIA
balls.
agent,
It's
but
terrible. And yeah, I know
she
it's a
probably thinks I'm a
classic game,
schizophrenic
but when someone's
weirdo,
fucked up, it's fucked
she's a
up.
weirdo herself
So if you
because
wanna
she
rip
likes
me a
Ted
new
Bundy
asshole,
for some
that's
odd
fine.
reason.
I have like 12. Yeah,
She
I
would-
got Charlie
she
Brown
was like-
post ass. And it's
she
not just
thought
me.
that Ted
Hideo
Bundy's
Kojima
attractive.
himself
Well, I
said it
guess,
slurped anal
but
grease through a
he
warthog's
is
dick
a
hole.
psychopath,
Well, he didn't
and
say it
he's
like
gonna
that.
kill
He
you
said it wasn't faithful
if
to his
you
original
were
game.
in
The
this
stealth element wasn't there,
way.
and Metal Gear wasn't even in the game. Yeah, that's
And
right.
she's
The final
bad.
boss is supposed to be a robot named Metal Gear. So if you're gonna call the game Metal Gear and not have Metal Gear, that's like having Legend of Zelda with no Zelda.
If the original Metal Gear was Kojima's baby, then the NES version is his deformed grandchild. Now, I know, it's still a classic if you look past Dog's flaws. It's like digging for gold underneath a pile of horse shit. Or perhaps it's a gleaming silver turd. It might not look like shit, but it sure smells like it.
I feel like life is very
The Magnavox Odyssey
depressing,
was released in 1972,
but I
making
just
it the
hope
world's
that with
first
school I
video
can
game
graduate
console.
and get
So
a
when it comes to
job
going back to the past,
as a freelancer, just
You can't
get
go
a couple
back
of
much
jobs
more than
and
this.
hopefully hope
look
for
at
the
this
best.
thing. Looks like a spaceship. What's
Hopefully
the
I
top
don't
for? The controllers are even stranger.
fuck
You
up
get a
in
reset
some
button and
compartments.
two knobs on the sides. One to move vertical to move horizontal, and then one more to do God knows what.
I'm
But
stressed
tell me,
out.
how are you supposed to hold these things? Or do you just put them on
I'm
cable?
very stressed out.
The wires are bulky, not flexible at
I just
all.
want to make a
They're
video for
short,
fun.
too. If you're sitting on your couch, the wires don't reach. However, the wire that connects the console to the TV is long as shit. Alright, I guess you're supposed to play with it on your lap or on the floor. Alright, now we're ready to play some Odyssey. Oh, of course, I forgot one
Oh,
thing.
okay, so
we
one
need a
moment.
game. These are the games. Pretty elaborate, right? The titles are the best part. Like, what are some of the games you grew up with? Maybe
Tomorrow.
Wrecking Crew on the NES, or Afterburner on the Sega Master System, or how about
paint
game
this.
number 1
This
on the Odyssey?
canvas.
No power.
I have no idea
Put
how
the
to
game
paint
in,
it,
the
but
console starts up.
yeah.
Pretty efficient, I guess. But half the time, it doesn't work. Gotta keep fucking around till the picture comes in. And after that, what do you get? Just a dot or a dash, whatever the fuck you want to call it. The only thing we need now is
I'm-
someone to play with. Sorry,
feel like
it's
I'm an
hard to play
artist.
our game, so
Autistic
I really don't have much
artist.
of a choice. All right, come on out. This is the Nerdy Turd.
Here's my drawing of courage.
Ready to play some Odyssey?
And no, I didn't trace it, but here's a drawing of Jesus.
Oh, there you are. Whoa, oh, there you are. Oh. Whoa! 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 Let's play hide and seek, alright? I won't look, okay? Hide somewhere. Alright, you ready? Okay. Alright, are you here? Oh, I was close. What are you doing? Oh, I get it. It's like taking a shit. Let me try it. Oh! Let's both do it. Like, go with me. So it's like the shit's getting thinner as it comes out. Oh, it broke off. Let's make a popsicle. Yeah, it's a popsicle. You're raping me. You're raping me. Let's just go all over. Woo, woo. Man, people in 1972 must have been bored out of their minds. You really got to use your imagination because the Odyssey doesn't have sound. And when you think about it, it doesn't have graphics either. Yeah, check out all the stuff that comes with the system. You have chips, cards, dice, a scoreboard, and most important, the overlays. This is the substitute for graphics. They come in 2 different sizes depending which kind of screen you have. The games themselves are all the same thing, just 2 dots on the screen, but they're all programmed slightly different. The instruction manual is absolutely imperative because without it, you wouldn't know the right combination for which game to overlay. Let's try some tennis. You just stick
What
this
do I
son
do
of a
with
bitch
my
on the
life?
screen here and you're all set.
I work
Now
too.
isn't that exciting? Yeah, you just gotta make all your own sound effects. You can cheat too. If you turn this little knob here, you can steer the ball. Yeah, that's not fair, is it? We're playing dirty now, motherfucker. When in a tennis game would the ball ever fly around somebody? It's surreal because you can move wherever you want. It's not like you have to stay on your side of the net. So the players have to keep their own rules and their own score. That's right, the game doesn't even keep score. It's a fucking free-for-all. Now let's try the skiing game. All you do is move the light through the slopes. And with these controllers, it's harder than it looks.
I'm gonna eat
The only goal is to
pistachios.
stay in the lines
Well.
and see how fast you can get to the end. It's up to the other player to keep time. Now that is what we call a desperate attempt at a video game. Now we have Simon Says. You just do what the card says and see who gets there first. Simon says go to the wrist. Simon says go to the pet's ear. Now this is A-class entertainment. Look at the dog's tongue. Oh look, he's got a nuclear boner. Nuclear boner! She's giving birth to a solar baby. Here it comes. It's time for football. And all I can say
I
about
made
this
over
one
like almost
is that when you
180
first
paintings
football
at this
game
time.
on a home video game console, it's fucking hard.
And I don't care how long this takes, but
Football marker and
I'm gonna
pages of
make 1,000
instructions to
paintings.
explain it all. You gotta do all kinds
I'm
of
gonna do
math,
it.
calculate the width and shit. So the hell
I
with
don't
that.
care how long it takes, I'm still gonna do it.
Fun. You just try to drive the puck into the opponent's net. If you keep
No
tapping
one's
the
gonna
reset
notice,
button,
but
you can change direction. Anything goes in this game. Gotta keep it away from the net. Keep it away from the net.
I'm going to
This
freaking
one's
do it.
called anal logic. Yeah, that sounds fun. It's like the logic of your ass. It's supposed to take place in outer space. Each start on your own planet. I guess maybe your anus and my anus. The idea is to get to the other player's planet by following a pattern of numbers. You figure out the patterns by adding the numbers of the last player's move to the
I almost did
fucking
200
map.
paintings.
It might sound like a complete waste of time, but that's because it is. Cat and mouse. In this game, one player's the cat and the other player's the mouse. The cat tries to catch the mouse, and the mouse tries to get to the hole. The blue squares are supposed to be furniture, so you have to go
I
around.
should eat some cheese.
But there's nothing preventing you from passing through, so naturally both players are going to end up cheating. Besides, why can't the furniture look like furniture and the hole look like a hole? Instead, they're visual representations of what they may have looked like if
I
the
get
game
wicked
had graphics.
hallucinations.
But it's an overlay. Draw some fucking furniture. Next is Haunted House, first horror game. You're a detective going around picking up clues. The second player draws the cards telling you what clue to get. Also, the second player is hiding as the ghost. Oh, there you are. No matter how many times I've read these instructions, I just don't get it. Submarine. Player 2 has to follow a squiggly line and dodge torpedoes fired by player 1. But the torpedo never seems to go in the direction that it should. And whether or not player 1 is supposed to move, I can't even say. It's just, you know,
I'm fat.
yeah. States. Okay, this one's just a name.
But I don't care.
You draw a card, you move the cursor on the state. But what about the little states? How are you supposed to point at them? I guess you could just point with your finger. This doesn't need to be a video game in any way. I also love how the instructions tells you that Alaska and Hawaii aren't really down there. Hey nerdy turd, did you know that Hawaii isn't really south of Texas? Last game, roulette. For this one, you get out the roulette board, you get out the chips, and you play
I
roulette.
want more water.
The wheel is the overlay.
I want more
Whoever spins
water.
The wheel just closes their eyes, moves the cursor all over the place, and then you just look where it landed. If it goes off,
Atlantic City. Oh, what the? Oh. I make pretty lengthy videos. Lot of cat. I'm gonna go get some cheese. My fucking YouTube videos are horrible. Young Money. What the fuck? I knew it. You can never trust sub for sub. They subscribe and then on a suddenly unsubscribe. Fucking assholes. Oh yeah, that's me.
Landed. If it goes off the wheel, which it does often, you line it up to the nearest number.
Dang, it's
But
already
most of
10.
the time it goes off the screen, so you're never sure
You know
where it
what?
landed. If you want to play roulette
I think I'm
without
done
going
with this
money
video.
on casinos, then
Alright,
get yourself
fuck.
a roulette mat and a wheel. A wheel and